What is up everyone, we are back with another video, and on this one we will be changing this Game Gear housing to this Retrosix red Game Gear case. Picked this up for around £19 along with this glass front bezel. So we're going to be replacing this. This is like plastic, so most likely if you got a Game Gear it's probably scratched to hell because these aren't very scratch resistant. So we're going to change it with this glass one. And yeah, this is a Game Gear that I have changed the capacitors a long time ago. So I'm going to open this up and probably see how bad my soldering skills are with this Game Gear. Oh yeah, and the glass, the back glass was only like £5 I think. So for this mod you don't really need much tools, but you do need one of these, which is a Gamebit. This is a 4.5 mil I think it is. So that's the security screw for the back of this, and just a Phillips head screwdriver, but make sure it's a long one because it's quite awkward to get your screws in here if it's too short. Got some isopropyl alcohol to clean it up with a toothbrush, a pry tool just in case I need to, I think I need to pry the speaker compartment because it's a bit awkward with that. Some pliers, and that's about it really, you don't really need too much. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open this up. First things first, remove the battery covers. There should just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Phillips head screws on the back here. All the screws at the back are now off, as well as the security screw here. So just lift it up. Now be careful when you lift it up because it is still connected on the power and the audio board. So there will be ribbon cables that we have to remove. So we've got audio up here and the power board, so just disconnect this white cable here and then the two small pin ones on the left here. Remove this one. Once you remove 3 of those cables, this should just, the top bit should just come off. I'll probably start removing everything on the bottom half and then work my way with the front bit because we do have to clean some of these button membranes. I thought I recapped the whole thing, but it looks like I've only recapped a couple of these and it seems to work fine, but eventually some of these caps, the old ones, will just leak. They basically won't work anymore, so I will have to change some more of these capacitors here. It works fine, so that's the main thing. The audio board looks like I've completely changed all of the capacitors there, which is why this soundboard is actually pretty good. The power board hasn't been touched because it still works. But eventually I'll probably will change this to a USB-C mod, and so I'll get a USB-C chip, install it, replace it, as well as having 2 lithium-ion batteries specifically made for the Game Gear. And then you have a rechargeable Game Gear that can charge via USB and you don't have to use this power adapter. Let's go ahead and let's start with the bottom piece. Let's remove everything here. There's a lot of screws to remove. So the first thing I'm going to remove is this shield. This is protecting the audio board. It has 4 tiny Phillips head screws, which this screwdriver will work. So the shield is off. What else could be removed? Right, let's remove the audio board first. This has two small screws similar to the ones on the shield. So what I'll do here, you see where the volume wheel is, push that in, and also the audio jack. Don't lift it from the capacitors, because you might just remove one by accident. There's the audio board, all recapped. So let's put that to a side. Let's now take out the power board. Again, this has two screws very similar to the audio one, so just remove those screws. Now this lifts up. The power button here will pop out. I need to take off this plastic tab here, which is actually just stuck on some adhesive underneath there, so you just have to kind of lift it up with a pry tool. You can use a hot air gun and just kind of soften the adhesive underneath, which makes it a lot easier than me trying to pry this open. I'm surprised this is still quite sticky considering how old it is. But yeah, that lifts off. Now we can remove the power board. And this button just kind of comes out like that. So that's off now. It looks like that's everything from the back. We don't really need to do anything. So let's get our new red case. These actually feel really official. It has like a grainy feel to it compared to the smooth plastic on the originals actually. So although they are almost official, they don't feel as sturdy as the original cases for some reason. We've got some extra screws here. Oops. So we can just put all the new screws in if we want to. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. What would matter is if your old screws are stripped, if you can't really get a bite with the screwdriver, then you should probably change with the new screws, because once you strip a screw, you'll be screwed. Right, let's put the front plate away. We don't need that yet. We need to remove this shield again and then put the power... Actually, we can just put the power board on now. These screws here are a lot smaller than the original. So these are a little bit different, I think. Okay, yeah, I see. Oh, so I didn't actually have to remove that. This shield is just this. It doesn't have this bit. I don't really know if that matters or not. I could put the original shield back in if I wanted to. But anyway, I suppose it just makes it easier, so you don't have to remove the shield, and then if you want to make if you need to make a modification of the audio board, let's put this back in. Oh yes, and this sticky bit here needs to go back on the power board. Still has some of the adhesive left, so that's good. I'm just going to put this one in because if I resell the original, we have the original parts for it, so let's just put this shield back on. It will also make this Game Gear slightly lighter. I mean, I don't know if that bit really makes a difference. I mean, that shield is definitely heavier than this one, so it should make it slightly lighter. Right, that's the back done. Pretty straightforward actually. There isn't anything left on the original back panel that I actually need for this. And this wire in here for the batteries already came like this. Let's get the front part. Start removing this because there's a lot more screws with this. Let's move that over here. I know there's quite a few screws to the back here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think these two you don't need to remove. There's one of these, I think, is for the LCD screen, so we don't actually need to remove. I think it's this one. That's for the cartridge. This is for the LCD. Actually, we do need to remove these. So let's do that first. And now I'm going to remove the screws on the actual motherboard here that you see. Two here, two on the other side, and then two at the top. We need to remove this tab actually as well. This little nugget here, just remove that. Okay, so all of those screws on the side are now off. So it's these four that you don't need to take out because they're actually screwed onto the LCD screen. Grab it by the cartridge slot and just lift it up. Again, be careful of this, the volume wheel here. You need to pull it left and then lift it up. It actually looks quite clean, but we can actually clean some of these contacts as well, and also give some of these membranes a clean. Essentially, you can actually just buy new membranes. I don't know where they sell them, but while you're here, if you have new membranes, I would suggest just put the new membranes, because these could just break. Right, leave that to a side somewhere safe. Let's remove this here. Let's remove all the buttons. Now this is the tricky part, is getting rid of removing the speaker. This here is all it looks like it's just glued on, like used I don't know, soldering iron, just literally just melted the plastic onto this. We need to somehow pry this off without breaking it. It's kind of tricky because this is where the speaker is. So I'm not too sure how I'm going to go about doing this. Maybe just without trying to break it, just work my way around. So I managed to get one part off, you see here. So all I did was get my pry tool and just like, not like forcefully just rip it open, but just use some force to, oops. Oh well, okay, that just snapped off then. I was trying to just wiggle it and then wiggle it a bit more, and it just completely popped off, so that was a lot easier than what I was expecting. But this is what you need to salvage, and then we can we should be able to just remove the speaker here. There's some tape. There we go, there's the speaker. And that's the front bit off. Oh wait, we need to take off this rubber bit here and apply it to our new screen, or new front case. So that's all of the original case off. Get the replacement case. Let's put this back on. Right, and now the speaker. You can probably give this a bit of a clean actually. So using some isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush, just going to clean the speaker a little bit. I forgot which way the speaker actually went, but you need to feed this around the screw bits. Okay, this doesn't really stick on. I could get some tape and just tape this some of this wire down. I think it goes like that. This one, there isn't any screws for this, but it's quite awkward. I managed to put the speaker on. As you can see, the plastic bit is kind of just placed here. It's not really stuck down or anything. I suppose you can put some tape or something to make this stay put, but there is a little bit that sticks out here that you can just poke this in and it makes this stay put. The speaker is in place, and I've also put some red tape here just to make sure this doesn't move about too much. I've got a wet wipe and I'm just going to give these membranes a quick wipe. Ideally you should probably just be cleaning these off with some soapy water. Keeping these black buttons because I think the black and red will go nicely. You can buy different colour ones if you want to. Always forget which way the membranes actually go, but I'm pretty sure it's these black points should be facing upwards. I think that's everything. We should be good just to put the board back in place, but I am going to clean this board as well. So that should be all good. We can place this back onto the new case. Now, oh yes, make sure there isn't any dust on the LCD screen as well, because you don't want to put it back and then there'll be some dust on the screen under the glass, because that would be annoying because you have to open it up again and clean it out. So that looks good. Let's place this in here. The Game Gear was actually one of my first consoles that my dad brought back for me from holiday. So yeah, that is my first experience in the gaming world, is having a Game Gear. Batteries weren't cheap back then, so even though this was a handheld, I would end up having to stand by an outlet and play the Game Gear. And then I ended up getting a Mega Drive or Sega Genesis as my actual console. So always been a Sega fanboy, even though I did appreciate Nintendo's Nintendo games and Mario and stuff. But I definitely preferred Sonic when I was a kid. Okay, I'm just testing out the buttons at the back here. I'm pressing this in, just making sure this actually feels right, and I think it does, so we can just screw this back on. I'll be interested to know what you guys first started off with, so if you want to comment down below, just let me know what consoles you first had. Okay, so this is the tricky bit. I need to line up the board and then screw it on. Probably easier if I put the two big screws here first. And it doesn't keep moving about. Okay, that's in. I think that's in. This D-pad seems a bit loose though. think I need to screw one of these screws a bit tighter because that doesn't feel too great. Okay, that feels a lot better. If you find that your D-pad feels a bit too loose, or any of your other buttons feel too loose, it's probably a screw that isn't tight enough. Need to grab this red nugget and put it in. Where did this go? Here. Next, we just need to attach the back plate. Ooh, snaps in very nicely. Everything fits perfectly. Did have some difficulty putting the screws onto the actual plate itself, probably because you just need to wear the screws in a bit. Right, let's actually put the front bezel in now. Now you can, if you don't buy another front bezel, you can actually remove this original. This is just stuck down, I think. You can just pry it open or use a heat gun to soften the adhesive, and just maybe get a suction cup and just pull this off the case. In all honesty, I think you should probably just buy a new glass case, because it's going to be scratch resistant and probably scratch free as well, because most of these Game Gears will have a ton of scratches on the front of the screen, especially if you buy second-hand ones. It's guaranteed this is going to be scratched, so it's always worth getting a new one. And it just feels more premium as well, having a glass front. And line it up and it should look something like this. So much nicer not seeing any scratches. Right, let's I'm just gonna cut it to, I'm gonna screw this back in and then just cut it and show you the final results, turn it on and stuff. So here's the final results. This is very similar to the Coca-Cola Special Edition Game Gear, which will have the Coca-Cola logo on the bottom here. But this is obviously a third-party one by Retrosix, and I highly recommend their cases. It just feels sturdy, everything lines up perfectly. You don't need to make any modifications to the actual case itself. The only one thing that I can see kind of a bit of a problem, well, not, I mean, it could be a problem for you, but here you can see where the light, there's like a light bleed. I'm not too sure if I should have put something around the screen, but you can kind of see some of the light coming through here. Even if I turn the brightness down, you can still see. It's where the LCD is here. I think maybe there should have been something in front here, but I don't think I missed anything out. So yeah, everything else is perfect though. The glass screen looks amazing. It's just so clean looking, black and red theme to it as well. These battery covers snap on and snap off so satisfying. Like, it's not loose like the original cases. They didn't provide a serial stickers, which is a shame, because with the original, these stickers, I mean, you can try and use a heat gun again to loosen it, but it's going to be hard to get this perfect, remove this perfectly and place this onto your other case. But this case does have some information here engraved on the case. But maybe you can just buy separate serial number and information stickers separately, online. I haven't really looked, but I'm going to leave it as it is. The next modification is probably the power board, like I said before. But I need to get one. They're not cheap. You're looking around £50 just to get the modification and the batteries, but it's something worth doing because Game Gears just completely rinse batteries, and if you don't have a original power supply, then you're kind of screwed as well. I hope this tutorial has been useful for you. If you do have any questions, then please comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on another video.